Hello.
Hello.
Oh, the thing has changed a little bit. There is a reaction showing, but it's from Scott. There's a reaction. There's a reaction from Jamie. Names are not showing up unless I roll over it here for those. And there's another one that is. They have slightly changed our display here, is what I'm responding to, everybody. Nobody has. There's Adi.
Hi, Adi.
Hi, Adi. And one comment, they have slightly changed our
You can see who likes
layout here, but it's not terribly important, but it's just intriguing.
It happened in a few hours because
it happened.
Yeah.
And there is Jeff. Oops. Hi, Anjan. I actually I meant to push Jeff, and Anjan suddenly snuck in under there and stole the click, stole Jeff's click. And there is Nellie. Hi, Nellie. You're late.
I hope you're feeling better.
We hope you're feeling better. I didn't know you were feeling bad, but apparently your feel bad hurts. Aw. Hello, Hashim. Adi says hi, Ma.
Hi.
Hi, she says. So we've got all of that there. Anyway, we are here today with our friend Swami Rama. Swami Rama, talking about Mandukya Upanishad. He titled it Enlightenment Without God. And guess what? We have an Inika saying, hello. And there's Johnny just saying, hello, everyone.
Oh, the water's again running in here.
The water's running?
Yeah, this one you have to be closed very firmly, otherwise it really...
The sink, yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're finally coming to the end of the introduction of this. Huh?
Oh, the introduction. Oh, not the end of the book.
No, we're just coming to the end of the introduction. And the introduction, it's called chapter 1, but the whole book, it's a funny layout. The whole book only has 2 chapters, and it's all falling apart. You see, chapter 1 is called Awakening. And chapter 2 is the actual 12 verses. It's a fascinating way of doing it. And so the last part, but this introduction of this front matter, this front part of this book, I think is absolutely fabulous. Beautifully, beautifully written, and very well worth reviewing often. There's 2 little bitty sections here at this last part of this introduction, and one of them is only 1 paragraph. It's a long paragraph, and it is entitled, What is Brahman? What is Brahman? The word Brahman is derived from the Sanskrit verb root bra or bri, meaning expansion, knowledge, or all-pervasiveness. This word is always of a neuter gender. It indicates absolute reality beyond the concept of male and female and all other dualities. Brahman is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. It is the very nature of one's true self, capital S self. That absolute reality, that supreme consciousness, which is never affected by the ever-changing nature of the world, is Brahman. That which alone exists and allows the entire universe to appear within itself is called Brahman. That Brahman is no different from oneself. All of humanity is Brahman. From this point of view, all people are essentially one and the same. Placing duality and diversity within humanity is the greatest loss, and realizing the oneness within and without is the highest gain. Nicely said, isn't it? It's very clear. But yet, by pondering this, by doing the contemplations and meditations with this over a long period of time, that little statement there that we just read just gets richer and richer and richer indeed. The next section is a couple pages and is the last little section of this. And then next time that we do this, we'll start into the 12 verses. Universality and the state beyond. Attaining knowledge of Brahman directly from within is called enlightenment. Oh, another picture showed up there. Adi, so Brahman is beyond Atman, bigger than Atman. Well, yes and no. It's not beyond Atman. One of the contemplations, I know you're going through, Adi, I know you're playing with that contemplation course that I made and the Mahavakyas. I'm remembering the Mahavakya just because it's a way of addressing what you're saying. One of the Mahavakyas, one of the great contemplations, one of the insights is Ayam Atma Brahma, which means that it's the discovery that literally Atman and Brahman are one and the same. They are actually not different. And then we have to look around for metaphors. It's like saying, it's not a perfect metaphor, but it's pretty close. It's like saying that the wave is one with the ocean. And if you go jump in the ocean, go out to, what's that ocean near?
North Sea.
Go out to the North Sea. We know that it's cold, but it's a yogic experiment, Adi. Go to the North Sea and jump in, but only into one wave. Just stand by the beach until you see one really nice, good wave coming, and then go jump in that wave.
I think I have a better plan. You can do it here together with Swami.
You can do it here, not with me. You can do it here when you come here. We'll take you to the ocean out here. It's real pretty because the water is clear, and so it doesn't look as icy cold as the North Sea does to you. But we'll take you out there, and we have it on good authority in the form of Alexei that our ocean here in the middle of the winter is refreshing. Isn't that the word he used?
Yeah, that's exactly what.
Yeah, I'm standing there with 4 layers of coats on, and he's walking around in his shorts. Anyway, the wave and the ocean are one. And so what we come to see, as we talk about it, it sounds like a bunch of intellectual silliness. But that's what we're stuck with, Adi. Qualitatively, that one wave is the same as the ocean. There's no difference between the total of the ocean and this one wave. Now, the metaphor, all metaphors seem to be a little bit sloppy always. They give one message, but there's a part of it that's always off. And it seems to me like every metaphor is less than perfect. And so it appears that the difference is that Atman is small and Brahman is big. It appears that way, but, and as you said, bigger than Atman. It appears that Brahman is bigger than Atman. So Atman is smaller than Brahman. And eventually we have to it's paradoxical, but eventually we have to get over that because we realize that in a sense, there's nothing but Brahman. There's nothing but ocean. It's all ocean. I hope that helps and doesn't just muddy up the waters even more. There be dragons in the North Sea. There, watch out for that. Johnny has informed you. You got to watch out. There's dragons there. Hi, Ben. Ben says, hi, all.
Howdy.
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 Why is your finger in the air, Ma?
To get permission to speak.
Oh, okay. Ma wants to speak.
Isn't it also a way, that's how I'm holding it, as a that those two words, even though they denote the same thing, they're used differently, as to say that when you speak about what's at the core of your being.
Yeah, if you try to say, if we say Adi, what you need to do is go find the infinity in the center of Adi. It's like, how can I do that? The center of me is not infinity. But if we say Adi, at the center of you, there is consciousness, and that consciousness manifests out through all these levels and layers. It sounds a little bit more plausible. Some part of our surface level of mind can kind of get an understanding of that. And that's the seeking of Atman. So in the practical sense, that's the value of the word Atman. It's a tremendous value of the word Atman. Later we discover it's Brahman, that this Atman is one with the total that's called Brahman. And again, it doesn't matter what names we call it, but the words are there that we can use. So why not use the words, the language that the yogis have used, because it's pretty good words. Most of us in our common language, we don't have good translatable words to work for these. So that the word Atman works quite nicely. And then we get to think of that as my Atman, the center of me. And then later we discover, wait a minute, wow. In some sense, there's no Atman because all there is Brahman. Or something like that. Adi just wrote here, thanks, that helps. All of that before helps. Good. That's what we aim to do. All righty. Where were we? Universality. I'm still learning English, so.
Yeah, it goes along with the condominium.
Yeah, she asked me, she said we were having lunch a little while ago, and she said she had put some condominiums on the table too. And I started laughing. Why are you laughing about? Because I don't see any condominiums. And she meant
the word again?
Condiment.
Condiment.
Condiments are little extras. You won't believe what we had for lunch. A main part of the lunch, we had beans for lunch. That sounds exciting for some, and it sounds kind of boring for others. But get ready for these. These beans were hummus. Now, you know, hummus is usually made with garbanzo beans or chickpeas, you know. Sounds rather bland when you say that. But these beans, hummus, were made with pinto beans, and it was chocolate hummus. So it's made of beans and some dates for sweetness and some regular, what do you call, cacao?
Yeah, cacao powder.
Cacao powder. And when you put it all together, it's absolutely yummy. So it's like eating a chocolate paste for lunch and being able to know that it's actually very healthy. It's beans. I think, Adi, if you play your cards right, maybe you can get some. You've already had it.
Of course, he had many of it, and we'll get more.
He's had many of it, and we'll get more, because he had it when we were at the last retreat in Holland together. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember that, Adi? Adi can attest to it. And Inika can attest to it as well. But she has pretty well perfected the making of it. It's beyond me. I don't know how to do it. My contribution is eating it and going, Ma, this is really, really yummy. That's what Inika said right here. She typed in yummy.
Yes.
Inika's sharp too, like me. She's figured out That's the best contribution to that. And Adi says, Majami. I don't know what that means. J is a Y sound in Dutch, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So what is it?
Mjammie. M is in Mary, J is in January. Majami. It's like the way a child says ready to go to bed and says, "Where's my jammies?" My jammies. That's what they call it. Pajamas are jammies.
Oh, yummy.
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 Okay. Well,
I will post the recipe, Anjin. Yeah, I'll post
that. Now, if that was spelled better, it would be spelled M. Yummy.
Hi, Frank. Jean, sorry. We're talking about Brahman, but we're having a detour in chocolate.
We had a detour into chocolate hummus.
It's Dutch for yummy, indeed. Yummy.
It's
yummy.
Yeah. Anyway, we had some of that for lunch, and it was yummy. Attaining knowledge of Brahman directly from within is called enlightenment. The human mind is in the habit of experiencing and projecting pains and pleasures. But when it is made aware of the everlasting truth, capital T, one starts seeing things as they are. The mind identifies itself with the objects of the external world and thus places a veil between the aspirant and the reality, capital R. We put a veil between. But the moment this self-created veil of Maya or illusion is removed, one attains freedom. Freedom. The veil of ignorance covers human consciousness on 3 levels. Note here, just as an aside here, when we say Maya is illusion, one of the other ways through the eyes of Tantra, the choice of words to explain exactly the same reality, same process, is instead of calling it illusion, it's called Shakti. And if you want to anthropomorphize it, you can call it Divine Mother. And so the manifestation of Shakti sounds a lot friendlier, doesn't it? Than this is all illusion, it's unreal. So then we can look and we can say there's this incredible beauty in everything around us. It's one reality that's manifesting outward as Shakti. And of course, once we understand it that way, then we can see that Brahman is actually the same thing, and it is also beautiful. The moment this self-created veil of Maya or illusion is removed, one attains freedom. The veil of ignorance covers human consciousness on 3 levels. Note, every one of these is part of the veil that's over the consciousness. They are the states of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Unless the veil over all these levels is lifted, the light of pure consciousness cannot shine. What do you substitute for oil, Inika? I must have missed something. Inika must have commented on cooking something. I don't know what that's about, Johnny. What do you substitute for the oil? I don't know. Maybe Inika can answer that because she knows what you're asking. I don't. So I'll pass on that one. Unless the veil over all these levels is lifted, the light of pure consciousness cannot shine. Thus, permeating one's consciousness to the state beyond and expanding it to the supreme consciousness is called enlightenment. From the heights of enlightenment, one remains aware of all states, waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, and yet remains in the state beyond, turiya. Before casting off his body, such an enlightened sage lives in the world yet remains above. He sees himself in the whole cosmos, and the whole cosmos in himself. His little s self becomes the big S self of all. I'm curious what you're... Can you turn that off, Ma?
Yeah, of course, but sorry.
Can you type in, Inika, what is it that you're talking about making? I did not see any comment down there about you making anything, and so I apparently overlooked it. And it's just my curiosity speaking. I see Inika saying hello, and I saw Inika say yummy, and now I see Inika saying not oil at all.
Johnny asked, what do you substitute for the oil? I think in the hummus, and then Inika said,
Oh, it was in the hummus, but he was asking Inika, not you.
Right. And so then Inika said, no oil at all, hot water or non-dairy milk.
Yeah.
He uses hot water instead, which is, it needs some fluid. I put the recipe there.
Hi, Jose. Okay, she has put the recipe somewhere.
It's super simple.
He sees himself in the whole cosmos, and the whole cosmos in himself. His self becomes the self of all. This direct experience of the oneness of all, of loving all and excluding none, is called Brahma Vihara. Isn't that a lovely term? Translated as frolicking in Brahma.
Yeah.
Vihara means playing, or frolicking is the word he uses here. Frolicking in Brahma. This realization cannot be attained through mere reasoning or through the intellect, nor can it be attained through mere study of the scriptures, listening to teachers, or repeating prayers without feeling all day long. Somebody somewhat recently wrote me a note referring to these times we come together about the next class. And it made me, when I hear that, when I would do retreats, when somebody says, oh, that was a nice class, when I hear that what we're doing is a class, to me, it's a message that the satsang was an absolute failure. Because if what we are doing here together sounds like an intellectual study and a class, then we are completely missing the point. This realization cannot be attained through mere reasoning or through the intellect, nor can it be attained through mere study of the scriptures, listening to teachers, or repeating prayers without feeling all day long. No benefit. The Upanishads say that only that fortunate one to whom the knowledge of self is revealed can experience the joy and bliss of enlightenment. When we spend the time going through this stuff here, and Swami Rama has provided us with these descriptions here, it's so that we can ponder this stuff and take it in and get glimpses of the reality behind it. It's not about information. Now, I too, along with other people, do a lot of posting of quotes. I put a bunch of them in every day. But for me, I'm not putting those quotes out for people so that everybody can memorize quotations and say, oh, well, Swami Rama said so-and-so in so-and-so place. And, well, Swami Umpty-Ump or Lama so-and-so said so-and-so, and then we can have debates over which person said which thing. To me, that's not the reason we do any of those things. To me, the only reason I participate in that is I never know when one of those that I put out will be a seed that will cause somebody to go, aha, wow, I missed that before. And occasionally I'll see a comment where somebody says essentially that, wow, I missed this. I've been hearing this for years, and finally It hit home just today when I read this little quote. That's the reason for it, and that's the contemplation, and that's the understanding that is not mere intellectualizing. Okay, that's my rant for the moment. Unless a student opens the petals of the heart, knowledge of the divine experience is never revealed. Since effort with perfect surrender to the absolute reality alone is the way to welcome the dawn of eternal knowledge and peace. I misread that slightly. Sincere effort with perfect surrender to the absolute reality alone is the way to welcome the dawn of eternal knowledge and peace. I'm going to read that sentence again, but listen, I ask you to please listen carefully and notice the feeling when we say surrender to the absolute reality as Brahman, rather than surrender of me to a God-man or a figure or a deity. Notice the feeling that's different inside. Sincere effort with perfect surrender to the absolute reality alone is the way to welcome the dawn of eternal knowledge and peace. You can feel it, can't you? I hope. The Upanishads are not religious scriptures, but they can provide the foundation for universality through the practical philosophy of equality, equanimity, love, and universal brotherhood. If you've noticed, maybe this is opinionated on my part. I don't think so. I think it's an accurate call. But from what I have seen in the known religions that are popular and all of their sects and denomination, all that, I hear very, very little that has anything to do with universality. They seem to mostly have to do only with exclusion. Come my way, do my thing, and the rest of you are lost. And that's putting it in nice words. Modern man is trying to improve the quality of life and achieve the next step of civilization, but without utilizing the concepts explained in the teachings of Upanishadic philosophy, it is impossible to resolve the bitterness of black and white discrimination, male and female chauvinism, ethnocentric egotism, or intellectual slavery to religious dogma and superstitions. I'm going to make another point. I'm going to read part of that again. I'll read the whole thing again, but I want you to point out something else. Notice here that he does not say that it's necessary that everybody follow the Upanishads. He mentions the concepts which are explained here. So it's the concepts that are important. It's not about converting everybody to Upanishadism, and there is no such thing as Upanishadism. Here it is, take it in. But without utilizing the concepts explained in the teachings of Upanishadic philosophy, it is impossible to resolve the bitterness of black and white discrimination. If we have the concepts of the Upanishads that we're going through, then what happens to this discrimination based on color? Disappears. Or gender, male and female chauvinism, ethnocentric egoism, or intellectual slavery to religious dogma or superstitions. Unless all people extend their hands to help one another, to share with all, and to communicate with all, humanity cannot be called a civilized species. When humanity follows that universality based on the Upanishadic wisdom, there will be no need for discipline enforced by the state, for codes of conduct, or for courts and churches. People will be self-disciplined and will progress constantly towards self-enlightenment. Pretty rich stuff, isn't it? Humanity has to expand the philosophy of life to enable it to rise above the narrow confines of religion, creed, and ethnic identification. To attain the next step, one has to become a member of the universal family and a worshiper of the supreme reality. When one understands the teachings of the Upanishads, then one realizes that life itself is a sort of worship that can shine on the altar of infinity. The hearts of all individuals should beat in one rhythm. The music of the pulse should resonate to a single melody. The time of practicing and following universality will come, and the flower of humanity will blossom. Then the humanity will share all material things as it shares the sun, air, and rain. This can be done when people determine to enlighten themselves, and enlightenment is possible here and now without the help of the word God. That's the end of the awakening introduction. That's it. Pretty rich stuff, isn't it? And next we will dive into the first of the 12 verses, which starts with, I'm not going to do the Sanskrit. I'm not even going to try. Hari Om. The entire universe is the syllable Om. The following is the exposition of Om. Everything in the past, present, and future is verily Om. That which is beyond time, space, and causation is also Om. There we go. That's it. We'll pause there now. To be continued. Now we get into the verses. This is good stuff, isn't it? Thank you, Swami Rama. Thank you all for visiting and playing. Yes. Yes. Scott says, so wonderful. That looks like a nice ending phrase. It is wonderful. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. I sound like a religious fanatic, don't I? Oh, it's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. Ma, I lost my tree. She's gone. All righty. To be continued. And tonight we will visit a little bit with the Yoga Sutras. I don't know if the Dachis will be with us. You'll have to be up in the middle of the night. Hashim will probably be there. Adi will probably not be. Anyway, if you're free, see you tonight, 5 hours from now, 5 or 6 hours from now. We'll talk a little bit more about Yoga Sutras, which is, of course, companion to all of this. Om Tat Sat. Okay. Thank you again, everybody, for playing. Have a wonderful next meditation, okay? Stillness and silence. And a little intuition about the nature of Atman and Brahma. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye, Indika. Bye, Anjan. Hi, Ben. Thanks for visiting.